Hello everyone, I'm a Metaslave, and welcome to Chapter 11 of my Conquest Max Round Efficiency. Corrin finally is going to be reclassing it to Dark Falcon in order to get that level up in Speed Plus in and get Speed Plus 2. But I think what's actually more important in this map in particular is hitting the magic, as opposed to the speed. Or rather, getting the extra point of magic from Dark Falcon. The boss strategy for this map, which is Hinoka, is going to be like Calamity Gate Corrin, which is why I needed C tomes, but there's an alternative. You could try to use Camilla instead to just double her from one range with the bronze axe, but you can't. It's harder to get 100 hit with Camilla than it is with Calamity Gate, which is why I prefer to use Corrin here, and it is within the range of like what I consider reliable magic stats on Corrin, so that's why I did it. I also promote Niles here with the last Master Seal before chapter 14. This is really good because like Niles like Bonite is notable because he not only does he have Lock Touch, he also has 9 move because he has movement +1 from Outlaw. This makes him like, I guess notable among the mounted units going forward. And he also needs to capture a generic Oni Savage on this map. Notably, this Oni Savage has Steel Resistance and is past level 10, which means I only need 1 level to get Shove. And, well, Shove, just like Swap, is very, very good. But I'm not in as much... I was in a rush to get Swap because I needed it actually for this map. As you saw, Camilla just took the boots, took 1 boots, and if it weren't for Swap Guy, she would need both, but it's better, but for another strat later, I need the second one from, I need the 4th pair of boots that I initially got on someone else. So, Swap got good, no questions asked, and the other, I guess, thing I should mention beforehand is that, starting in Chapter 11, it's kind of like when the game starts shifting to primarily maps that have, pretty linear objectives, such as Kill Boss or Seize, and they start feeling like deceptively short paths to them because of a little nifty thing in this game called Shelter Dancing. As a lot of you might know, Shelter is kind of like forcing someone into your saddlebags with pair up, which means that someone else can transfer that sheltered unit and also act with that sheltered unit once more, as long as it's something that they can do without moving, which includes dancing, which basically lets Azura dance twice in one turn because Silas here does have shelter. That's gonna be very important for plenty turn saves, but for now, let's get to Chapter 11 in particular. This clear that I'm doing is kind of vaguely inspired by one done by Zoran, but he needed multiple shelter bots, whereas I just need 1 because of my extra move from boots. So the first thing that needs to be done is capture that generic Oni Savage, which, again, I just did more damage stacking, strength stacking, and Forge Bow with Niles to maximize the hit. And now Azura is going to free herself up by transferring Elise to Niles so that she can be sheltered and sing. Now it's time to get Rink out of the way because she's kind of scary. She has a 2-range weapon and moves. So Corrin will kill her and lunge over there because that's important. Corrin being on that tile is very important for turn 2. Now Silas can shelter Azura for Silas himself to be danced. But first, Niles is going to exit those stairs because Silas needs to occupy the staircase. Baruka takes Azura to dance for Silas, and Generic Peg, I don't even know how the fuck you pronounce that, but it's kind of funny to look at words-wise. And Silas, the reason why I needed C or D lances is to have javelins for this map. Is to kill that ninja in attack stance. His hit's a little better than normal because of a skill status, which I thought was kind of funny and didn't really feel like getting rid of. So there you go. And now Felicia ends her turn in Oni range. This Oni would base Azura could survive that. She just needs to get an HP tonic. And what was kind of important throughout turn 1 was making sure only one enemy could attack Azura. I also manipped this Oni away from Baruka using Felicia, so that Baruka wouldn't be blocked and could hit that guy, and could get to Silas. Because while I could have used Odin to like to kill the Oni after bringing Felicia. Like I want to make a statement and use the peg instead of Odin. And yes, so now both Silas and Azura are in the clear, and Niles is gonna end his turn in Silas's at the edge of Silas's range, get danced, and move once again, so that he can use the max rescue range to rescue Corrin, and Corrin can just barely reach Hinoka. He needed all the damage stacking that I do between Felicia Pair Up and Tonic and Battle Seal and whatever to finish to like one round Hinoka here. And now that's chapter 20 or chapter 11 in 2 turns. Let's move on. Chapter 12 is kind of continuing the trend that I described in chapter 11 of just kind of like very linear objectives that are kind of like cut like hot knife through butter by shelter dancing at times. But this boss skill is going to be a little less reliable because it's Ryoma, who's a dickhead and a dodgy swordmaster. But I still get the... It's probably the most unreliable boss skill in the playthrough. It's hitting 2 displayed 81s, which could be worse. I think could be a lot worse. It's still better ETC-wise than taking another turn. We don't have Elise for this map, just because of like story reasons, but that doesn't really matter. She did her job with Rescue last map. But what's worth mentioning, oh yeah, we also have Kaze, who is another lock touch user, and Ninja's actually a pretty good class in this game, because shurikens are innately a 1-2 range weapon, and that's helpful. So let's get into it. The specific positioning here gets like is needed to break this first pot so that I can like end my turn right next to Saizo and these generic ninjas. Cheeky did a pretty similar strat with this as I am here, or sorry, a similar strat to this without all the boots that I have, but because I have the boots, I get to do this. Camilla, like, it's important that I have, like, not only an 8-move unit that can activate the Dragon Vein, so this Camilla, who can activate the Dragon Vein next turn to clear up the pots, but also an, a mounted unit to bring Azura over to the boss killing pair. It's Corrin, it's Odin again, which is, a little more support, but ideally Corrin would have the magic to do it with Niles, but you can't really do it reliably. So, like, in a playthrough that allowed extra... like forging beyond the forge limit, you could use Niles and like a higher forge of fire. Okay, so Corrin finally gets speed +2, which we all know is a very, very good skill. And what's nice here is that the worst bulk of Dark Falcon compared to Malignite makes those first 2 ninjas go for Corrin instead of Niles. And that's very helpful because Niles can barely survive with a bunch of bulk stacking that I did. Including like a meal, which going forward, like I didn't really use meals until now, but since they are pretty important for a lot of the strats, I will mention what meals are necessary in the description. But yeah, between all the stacking that I did, Niles survived all those ninjas, thanks to Weapon Triangle Advantage. And now I can safely reach Ryoma now. So first, I do a cute little thing. Well, before, yeah, the peg, generic peg. Shout out to Yayoi again. I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm not going to try anymore. Is going to bring over Azura to Niles, but first I got to get rid of that generic ninja. I used Laszlo's Rally because it actually helped there. I guess I neglected to talk with Laszlo and Perry. Perry is a level 10 Cavalier that starts with Shelter, as you might have seen, which is helpful by default. I could use her in place of Silas if I was willing to promote her for when it's necessary, but it doesn't really matter, so I don't. Laszlo is kind of useless in combat because he's not in a very good class, Mercenary. But he has a personal that's a rally that just gives +1 strength and speed, and that's helpful, and that is helpful. So he does see some deployment, I guess. If Corrin got hit by more things, I just use a vulnerary here just to get full health against Ryoma, and now I can dance. Like I said, if Corrin had the attack power to kill Ryoma without a magic pair up, I would use Niles here for the better accuracy, but I can't, so I just use Odin. So two displayed 80s, there would be 2 displayed 80s. I just gotta kill Ryoma here, and I do, luckily, spoiler alert. And that is chapter 12 in 2 turns. I also got a secret book. That's really helpful. Thanks. See you next time.